Good evening, good afternoon, good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kash, your sexologist bestie. We're here for the Business of Pleasure podcast, and honestly, I can't promise that this is going to be a completely serious episode, although it will have serious moments, because I'm sitting next to a person who I would define as my best friend, but also my heart. But we known to be just acting out, you know. Anybody who's seen our swing video by this point knows that we just have a good time. And what he just was doing, for those who tuned in and caught the before the parts that I introduced myself, was triggering my ADHD. And I think that that really is some a-hole-ish, babe. Okay?
That sounds like me.
Let's get this off on a good foot, dear.
Yes, dear.
Is that okay?
Okay, sure.
All right, because you know I want to serve you like I live and die to.
Yes.
I live and die to serve you. And speaking of service, one of the conversations that we're definitely going to talk in that is about love languages. We're going to talk about what they mean to us and how they show up in our relationship. But really this conversation, I realize that, you know, I'm always talking about things and sharing with you tips. And the internet has a way of also wanting to see you live the life that you're telling other people to live. And so, well, what better way to do that than to bring my own man up in here, aka my real-time review, right? If you ever want anyone who can validate or invalidate, it'd be him. And honestly, I'm gonna let him have free range today to get me together if he wants to at any point. So this should be fun. Okay? But to kind of kick this off, I really wanted to hone in on this conversation being a conversation that's going to focus on understanding how to take care of both of his heads. Okay? Ooh. You like how that sound?
Oh, we're doing it live.
Very much so body language. I saw that there. Which head did that stimulate?
Both of them.
Don't look at me like that. We just started. Like, wait till the end when we're going to be rapping, because we don't have to be like, and cut. All right, kids. No. But what I really do want to talk about, just to kind of kick off the conversation, and you guys know we're still in Men's Health Month. This is coming to an end, but I really feel like these are conversations that have to be continued well beyond this month, and we're just getting them kicked off here. And I want to say I'm very proud of the way many of you guys have been engaging on the content that we put out so far, where we're, you know, they're getting to hear the perspective from men. It's very, very healthy, some of the dialogue that I've seen, so I want to encourage y'all to keep that going. But to kind of kick this off, honey, I kind of want you to kind of help answer like on a broad span, so people kind of get a sense of where you were and where you are now before we talk about anything else. So kind of understanding what your relationship or understanding of pleasure was before marriage, after you got married, post-divorce, and now that you're with me. So it's like phases. And I feel like you've went through a lot of phases over the course of the last decade or so, yeah. Right? So can you talk about that a little bit with me, dear?
Well, before my marriage, a little lost, trying to figure things out. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't really judge yourself. You have to go by your partners. So, of course, I hate to say it, but, you know, porn was definitely the guide. And then you get older, you realize it's unrealistic. So I seek guidance from basically my big brother, Natron. And he gave me some tips and pointers on how to please a woman. So, of course, it took a life of its own. During marriage, our sex life was definitely great. But, you know, as you go along, you only get better with time, and you get more mature. And you open yourself up to different things and trying different things and keep pushing the envelope. Post-marriage, that's when I started becoming lifestyle. Started going to the swing parties.
And before you like even go there, because I feel like that's a big shift, right? First of all, but you said something I just want to kind of get you to expand on a little bit when you mentioned your friend Natron. How do men go about a conversation where one of them is schooling them on sexual techniques and like how does that conversation, or what does it sound like amongst men?
Well, Natron's older than me, so, and he was very like, he wasn't judgmental. He was very knowledgeable, free flowing, and he doesn't care about like pause and all other stuff. It's just, it is what it is. You know what all the guys.
Did you ask him though, or did he?
I asked him. I was like, yo, Natron, like, like, how can I be better? Like, I need to know the tips and tricks, because he was at that point, he was highly sought after, and he's just like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. I'm like, yo, what do you do to get that? Like, y'all talk to me. And he would tell me the techniques and a few things along the way and certain mindsets to have, and then it just called for life of its own with that basic principle of, the importance of your pleasure, her pleasure, not being selfish, seeking someone that's a giver, and the difference between a pleaser and a receiver. So we had those conversations. He basically taught me my foundation of my oral techniques, and I can only expand on that.
Thank you, Natron.
I can only expand on that after that.
Put you on my Christmas list this year. Pull up. I got a plate and everything. You the only other man that I'll serve this plate with the same love and care I serve him with. Because without you, I'm sorry, Tahoe. I lied. Damn. Just let me have my moment with Natron. He's the reason he licks me the way he does. You don't think the man deserve a little hot meal? You know what I'm saying?
It's a good guy. It's basically my big brother.
My big brother too. Nah, but good. So then you say, okay, had a good sex life in the marriage, like and good sex life in a vanilla way.
Yeah, you can say vanilla way.
You was a little uncertain, baby.
Cause it's like I think about then and now compared to
you're like that.
It was kind of, that back then was vanilla, but it was great.
But you didn't think it was vanilla when you were doing it?
No, I thought it was like the greatest thing in the world, But I ain't gonna lie, I was very conservative in the beginning. So, anywhere except the bed, be like, oh, shit, like, in the kitchen, okay. So,
so you felt like anything outside of sex in the most typical places was like wow.
But
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but a lot of times, you play like the conservative role. You don't want to go too far. You don't want to do too much. You want to keep it nice and safe. You know what I'm saying? So
when did you start getting disrespectful?
Pretty much after marriage. Started feeding the monster. Started going lifestyle. Started diving into like kinks and such, and understanding it.
I feel like you're not bridging a gap though that I need, because it's like straight vanilla to like just having sex in the kitchen is wild to like, I think I'm gonna go to the swing party is a wild.
It is like it is, but it just
I guess what I want to understand is what led to that thought that had you even open to being like, you know what, I'm doing it.
It's on some, instead of asking why, you ask why not. Yeah. So you say to yourself, what's stopping me from doing this? What people gonna say? Like, it's still private. Like, even now, this is a stretch for me because I'm a private person. People think they know me, but I give them a little something. Like, I would have a barbecue. Everybody stays in the backyard. No one's inside the house.
Okay.
So they be like, oh, no, Chris. Yeah, that's my boy. Ah. Next thing you know, Chris is going to swing parties with the fucking flog. Like, oh, shit. So it's like, that's who it is. So,
okay, that makes a lot of sense, because it's the change of that question alone. As soon as you said it, immediately in my head, I thought maybe if people ask themselves that question more, they would not hold themselves back from certain things that they really do want to do.
Yeah, because when you're dating and you start talking to different people, different walks of life, you match with people and have different kind of conversations, and they bring different things. Like, you ask them, what's their hobbies? Then it's like, you do what? Oh, what is that, a kink? Oh, that's what it is? Oh, there's more of these. Oh, really?
I like it.
Yeah, I like that. I'm like,
Tell me more.
Yeah, next like I said, you feed in the monster get bigger, and then you get more curious, and then you start going to different spaces that other friends don't understand. You can't tell everybody your lifestyle. You can't tell everybody that you're into impact play, fire play, all this other stuff. There's like, people still horrified by freak off parties.
Sometimes you gotta, right, and you gotta in your head, it, but then you're trying to explain it to someone else, and just like, how much work it gets to get someone's mindset to even really open to process it. That sometimes it's like, you just gotta experience it. Like, you don't. I could explain kink 20 ways left and right, but everybody's response to certain things is not the same. So it's like, yo, it's just like, figure out. I always tell people, think about what you already know you like, and ask yourself, how can you take it to the next level? So if I know I love when you slap my ass or whatever the case
Right.
is, then would I love if you slap my ass with something other than a hand?
Right.
Like that would become the bridge, is what I would recommend to someone. But it's like, how do you, sometimes you have this excitement that other people.
The partner is important. The comfort level is important. A lot of times these people don't do these things alone. They have someone to introduce them to it that they're comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? And once that person starts opening those doors, sometimes it can take a life on its own. Some people want to do it. They want to try it. They want to see what it's about, but don't have someone to hold their hand. A lot of times when people, my friends, want to know more about kinks and such, I refer them to you. Because I'm like, yo, she will definitely teach you a class on some that you didn't even know that you like. And all of a sudden, you didn't even know what fire play is until you get fired. And you're like, yo, I love that sensation. Or you get hit with the flogger, be like, oh, that's what it feels like. It doesn't have to be like the impact to cause an injury, but just like the sensation on your skin causing goosebumps. People, once they have it, they like it, and that's what opens the door to other things. And it's, you know, it's like people may have these thoughts, but never have the confidence to seek it.
And when you ventured into the lifestyle, what made you fall in love with was it, because I feel like for me, I fell in love with the community or the people before I actually fell in love with the kink.
It was definitely how people were less judgmental and open sexually. Then you have the community. People, when you're around like-minded individuals who are very open about their sexuality and their sexual preference, the things that get their rocks off, and it's not even just sexual, because some people just like to watch and like to, you know, masturbate while watching, or they get different pleasure from giving pleasure. You know, and you watch how people's mind works, and you start to understand certain things. And next thing you know, when the lights come back on, these are doctors, nurses, you know, public servants, lawyers,
Everyday people
who have kinks. And then it's like, you know, when you get them on a job, they're like, you know, we don't talk about
Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno.
I'm like, what do you
We don't
mean?
talk about bondage. No. Like that. It's for real though, because literally you'll be standing next to a person and never know who they are after they clock out. Like it's I've definitely had in my history back, you know, last time I had that kind of job, but I had coworkers who had me like really thrown for a loop because their night personality was complete opposite. Like, okay. So I was going to ask you if you felt like you had any mentors, but you already kind of answered that question when you spoke about Natron. So what I I didn't let you finish your answer though. So let me stop, because I asked you post-divorce, you started going into kink, but then you were about to go into, because the last part of it is now that you're now back in a committed relationship for now, you know, we've been involved with each other for 2 years and change now.
Who am I in a relationship with? Who am I?
Why you have to be
all right. We serious. Yeah. All right. I'll see what I can do.
All right. Now, just be honest, though. All right, look. I want you to know that this is a safe place, even from me, when you're talking about me.
Okay.
I don't want you to feel like you have to give an answer in a way that, like, yo, I still got to go home with her.
I still do, so.
But I don't want you to base anything on that. I genuinely mean that. For now, I will switch between her and the host.
Okay.
You know, and so when you start talking like that, I'll be the host.
Yes.
You understand? Because honestly, I feel like it's important for people to understand. Even as an expert, there's always room for me to grow, and there's always room for me to learn. And I don't take offense to criticism that's given to me constructively, and with valid basis. Like, if, you know, if somebody's making a valid point, and you got to be like, or whatever the case is. Sometimes it takes that, but also, you know. So I just want to set the tone and say that I want you to be honest. So you step into the lifestyle, and then you get on this dating app, and you meet this hot, yellow, fine ass sexologist chick who you got literally thrown a whirlwind when you found out a little bit more about me, and then our journey began. So now your relationship to pleasure from that point till now, how would you describe this phase?
It was more like knowing things, but not knowing the how, not knowing the title, knowing to do certain things, not knowing how, not knowing why, not knowing the name, you know what I'm saying? Not knowing a lot of things, but just having like that kind of feeling on what I'm doing. And sometimes it works. And you're like, all right, let's stick to it. But then when I started dealing with you, now I know the ins and outs of how things work. Now I know the names of certain things because it's your profession. When we matched, I didn't know what the hell a sexologist was.
I remember that. And I
just
slipped up and told you I was a sexologist. Well, no, I had it in my bio, but when you asked me what a sexologist was, I slipped up and gave you more than the answer you asked for. And I was like...
Because I was like, oh, you outside, aren't you? I was like, what's this?
No, not me. Inside. Look at me.
Popular. Really. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, snap. So, but I still didn't know what a sexologist. I had to look it up. You know me, I be searching shit up. So,
you get nervous when you found out I was an influencer?
Hell yeah, because I'm a public person. I mean, I'm a private person. You're a public person. So that made me nervous. I was like, yo, I ain't trying to be out there. See what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be out there like that.
Way out of stuff, yeah.
But you try different things. I'm here today. You know, this. No one, like, people would not believe me coming on platforms and being behind cameras and such. People would not believe that. But it's interesting, and now I'm curious to see how these things go. I watch you do it, I help you do it, and I love to watch you do it. I love to help you do it. So I was like, all right, you know, return the favor. Now here you are. Have me
still
here.
on my job, right?
I think so.
Oh,
I think so.
I wasn't sure. You like watch me do it. You want to do it. You help me do it. Do it and do it. You know, why'd you hit me with that mic? Yo, you be wilding with this mic drop. Oh man, we gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that because, yo, you holding that joint like as if it's like slowly like it feels like a threat. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like.
I just want to know, why are you holding that vibrator like that, bro? What's going on?
It's a very strong tool, and I love it. I feel armed. I feel ready for whatever.
Armed for what, baby?
Your pleasure.
And this is the Business of Pleasure podcast, hosted by... Anyway. Okay, so curiosity is... Do you feel like that curiosity has been fed, or you feel like there's still... It's just beginning?
Most of it has been fed. I've been in certain spaces, but then I thought it was mostly fed. I just knew for a fact that when I was dating, once I went lifestyle, I could not deal with a vanilla woman anymore. I couldn't deal with a conservative woman anymore. I couldn't be conservative anymore. You know what I'm saying? So when I met you, and then I realized you're the queen of kink, teaching classes on kink. You know what I'm saying? I was like...
That makes me sound like a filthy whore, babe.
A filthy whore? Oh, no. I'm playing. So
was that praise kink? It felt like it. I had the reaction I get from praise kink.
You're wonderful.
Uh-huh.
So
okay.
When I met you, then I realized I hit the peak of the mountain. This is the moment, you know.
Were you intimidated by that?
More like ready to meet the challenge.
Ooh. I like that.
More like that. More like ready to meet the challenge because of your knowledge, your poise, and everything like that. It's not something I've experienced. So, I ain't no bitch. So I was like, yo, I ain't scared, yo. I ain't scared.
I will say that I never got scared. There were times that I got nervous.
Yeah.
Like the day we met, I absolutely got nervous. And then it was like even after we broke the ice, you was still nervous a few times after whenever I
had a
saw
lot to
you.
lose. I had a lot to lose. I had a really good feeling about you, and I didn't want to mess this up because sometimes I can be oblivious and abrasive, and then when you're dating, sometimes it be one little thing that turns a person off. So I try to be very self-aware about certain personality traits I have.
I find that so interesting because in our first conversation, when you didn't feel like you had anything to lose, apparently, you were letting it all out. And I was like, I was about to hit you with the same thing that Sue, my best friend hit him with when they met. And she was like, have you healed? He was like, these women ain't accountable. These bitches don't ever fucking take no credit. This is our first convo, guys, straight off the dating app. I'm like, hey, how are you, handsome? These bitches and their lack of accountability today. I'm doing good. How about you now? You might as well said that because at one point you got passionate and you went off. And I just was in the car like, I like it. You know why I liked it?
Why?
I don't think I ever told you this.
No.
I liked it because most guys present to you all their good shit and hide the parts of them that, you know. And I always said, God, just send me a man that's going to show me all his bad and surprise me with his good. Because if you surprise me with something I love, then it's going to be like, oh, as opposed to I felt like, oh, and then you hit me with the, oh. So it was refreshing to talk to a man, and in the first conversation he wasn't afraid to be vocal about certain things that most men would have probably played it safer about. And I don't know if it's because you're a Titan and you love to charge headfirst into things, but I was like, it was intriguing. It at least made me more curious because what I wanted to know from there, okay, is it always going to be like this? Right? Is this a today vent, but this is not who he is all the time? Because there are some really angry, just bitter
women,
people.
like not
gay,
just women, but just men too. Angry men. What would they be angry men for?
No, there are men who are just angry too.
No. I meant like there's men who are not gay but hate women.
Okay.
Like the incels, they be like, yo.
Like they say they love women, but they passively show hate, or
they hate them, period. Like they realize like they're not into men, but they don't like women.
I see what you mean.
And they're things that women do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yes, they're attracted to women, but don't like them because of whatever
experiences
reason.
And all that stuff. Okay.
And they're just
that
always angry. So that day, I thought it was almost like a defense mechanism because of how you looked, the things you do. A lot of times women like you, or at least look like you, man, they are so snobbish, self-centered.
Yeah, he was trying to like set the record straight.
Yo, I was like, yo, get out of here, son.
I was like, damn, yo.
Because, like, yo, women, yo,
my favorite color is red. I like the Lion King.
And then,
like,
you know what I mean?
I'll go to the Cheesecake Factory. And they have a big menu. Sometimes I wonder, how do they cook all of those things? You know, that's how I was thinking. And he was like, bitches and their accountability. Honestly, he never used the word bitches. Let me be clear about that, because I had to work to get you to even be comfortable to call me it in a nasty setting. So, like, respectful to a fault, but that day you had some stuff on your mind, yo.
Because I mean, my thing is, sometimes you see things from the sidelines. You don't want to become the next story. You don't want to have a story about being a villain or you getting done dirty and taking out on everybody. So you try to avoid certain circumstances. You let somebody's experience become yours. Be like, all right, you know, I can't have that happen.
That makes sense.
You know, because a lot of pretty privilege out there. You know, there's women that are self-centered. A lot of women don't. They're not giving. They're just like, what can he do for me? Can he pay my bills? So and so and so. And in the dating game, it's rough out there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's out for self, but they still want somebody else. So they're not considerate, you know? And then when I came to you and I super liked you, you know what I'm saying? Definitely super liked you.
I picked you out.
I'll super like you right. Let me start.
So anyway. Super lick me? Show me. Don't tell me.
So what made me nervous, I was like, yo, she looks mad good. She's mad thick.
Baby.
But the conversation was great. You know, that first FaceTime, I was like disarmed immediately.
Me too.
Immediately.
It was a little scary.
It was.
Yeah, because he was doing, he was over here like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, it's like women have this way of not wanting to own their stuff. And then I'm like, I must have gone to the store. Let me just FaceTime you real quick, because you kept saying something about how women present this version online, and then you see them in person. It's not always what you didn't always get what you paid for. It was like what I paid for versus what I got. So you was talking about that, and I'm like, let me just hush this up, because he's not about to sit here and be insinuating that I'm that. So I'm like, just accept the FaceTime. And he was running his mouth, and he was running his mouth, and he was running his mouth.
Running my mouth.
And then that joint was like, boom, and you know how the FaceTime sound come in, boom, and then he was like, oh hey. Did you see the sun today? Ajay was behind him outside the car. His daughter came outside. He was like, yo, go away. Daddy be right there. Hi.
Yeah,
my name
she
is
was
Christopher.
definitely like, who you talking to, Daddy? I'm like, yo, relax, man. Go inside the house.
Now I'm like, who you talking to, Daddy?
Talking to you. Talking
next
to
question. Talking back to you.
You said?
Not talking back.
Right.
At you. To you. All right. So, this brings us right into our next question, which is turn-ons, and turn-offs. It's so interesting. We started to kind of flow naturally. What I really do want to know, though, honey, is what are your top turn-ons and top turn-offs? Because obviously when you're dating, you're looking for people who are going to either do one or the other, and hoping that they don't turn you off too much. Like you said, it could be one little thing, and then the next thing you know, everything goes out the window. But now, when you think about what turns you on, or what turned you on, right? Like technically, even in that timing, and what does the latter for you? Which, I want to know.
So you want to know what turns me on or what caught my attention?
Like, what are the turn-ons? And I don't necessarily just mean even sexually, even though sexually is not included, but like things that a woman does, or I did, right? Because I would be an example, right? In that phase when we're still making decisions about whether this is a person I want to continue doing, that were like, okay, I think I want to stay in this. But what things would have turned you off, or you were concerned about? Better yet, maybe the better question there.
The first thing that comes to my mind immediately is a person that's considerate.
Okay.
A lot of people are very oblivious and in their own world, in their own head, and don't see how their moves and thoughts and experiences affect others. So if you have someone that blocks all that out and says to themselves, I would want to be treated like this, so I'm going to treat you like this until you give me a reason not to treat you as good as I treat you. So you start off at 100 versus starting at 0 and work your way up. I always started at 100.
Okay.
I give you all you can handle. Right. I give you all you can handle immediately until you start doing things to lose points, and then we settle at a number that we can deem comfortable for you. So anything's possible immediately. Immediately, whatever you can handle. But some people be having their issues, or they have like their reservations. So we just tone it down to maybe come back up eventually. So when I'm dating a woman, or I should say that was many moons ago.
Yeah, we were dating. We still dating.
Good call. Now it's like, how considerate are you? Do you understand that I work and my hours can be very unpredictable? If I don't call you back immediately, is that a problem? If I'm working and I can't use the phone, but I can sneak in some text on the watch or something, will you text back fast? Do you understand it's not always about you? Do you understand that I'm doing my best to make time for you?
Oh, about all those measures, I was failing. At least for the first week. I would say the first 10 days.
Yeah, but you...
I'm not giving you 14.
But she was nice. It was definitely like 14. But
babe, seriously,
it was like 14.
We first spoke on the 15th. We met, ironically, the night of Tahoe's birthday play party. So that was the day we met in person.
Right.
So that's the 25th. 10 days.
10 days.
Because the party fell on the 25th. So that was exactly 10 days,
Felt
baby.
longer.
And technically, I spent 7 hours on the phone with you on the 9th day. So I'm even taking a day back.
So now you want to go with 9.
Yeah.
But you still consider it. Even if you called on the way to somewhere, call me from the tub with people around, or call me when you was in the tub getting away from people.
Yeah, that sounded crazy, right? Like, let's get a tub with people
You
around.
exhibitionist, so you be like, yeah, come everybody, the bathroom's big enough. But anyway, but you, I can't help it, man. So you would call me. A lot of times it'd be like a group call because you still had mad people in the background, but you would still find a way to.
He was lit,
Yo, I used to be like, hey, everybody, oh, this is Chris. Oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Meeting the friends already. They always around. But
Oh, see, yeah, I get backhanded. Get that back.
But you still found a way to keep me interested. It felt genuine. It felt right. I felt like, yo, I should be patient with her. I can't say that about other people. But you had this way of like, I got you. Hold on. This is busy season. You know, people got a bunch of orders and I'm doing parties. I'm doing this, you know, and you was definitely going up and up and you was like busy. You was busy. But you made time. The little bit of time you made, I'm like, oh, I'll wait. And
That was the thing that made me. That was the thing that made me continue, or made me prioritize you. Actually, most people, and I think this isn't just true for me. I think this is true for anybody who leads a work schedule, like you said, with unpredictability, or has a lot of things that can keep them busy. And it isn't just work; it can be family, it could be kids, it could be all kind of stuff. But for me, I'm so used to people being able to count on me and me being able to be understanding to everybody else's circumstances. But despite how much people see my life and how sometimes it can be, they still seem to chuck it up. So, like, oh, you think I'm just sitting around doing nothing, huh? Right? And so people are very impatient with me in that way, until they get a closer or front row seat to what it is, and they're like, oh, this is a little, like, it is what I thought it was. But then you said to me, I said to you, I felt bad. So over here, you're like, oh, she's worth the wait. I'm over here like, damn, I'm about to fuck up this whole situation. Because that's how that was my thinking, because I knew that I kept feeling like, yeah, I'm just not, we haven't had that chance to have that convo since the first one. So I'm over here like, I'm going to try to find a way to make this time that I need for us to really get that footing. I felt like you need to kind of really determine where you're going to place this person in your life, right? Or whether you're going to place them in it at all. And when you said to me, it's okay, take your time, I'm going to be right here, that was the one text you sent me that changed the whole everything, because you didn't have to. And right. By day 8 of me not being the most responsive at all times person, or not able to text you right back, or every time I call you, I got to be like, oh, okay, I got to call you back already. I wasn't expecting that. So when you did that, I said, it made me get intentional about like making sure that I made the time, and I wasn't going to let anything interrupt it. And I knew that I at least owed you that. Right. If nothing else, you were patient. I don't think it's going to be a lot for me to call about the time, but I didn't think it was going to be how much time it was. I ain't gonna lie. It was a lot of time. It was an interesting night. Yeah. But, okay. That makes sense. Was there anything that I did in the early phase that might have turned you off?
No.
Interesting.
No. And that's what makes it scary. That's what makes it scary, because when you meet someone and you click, and it's like, damn, after that, it's like a clock starts going off. Because if you out there enjoying your single life and you meet the right woman, there's a timer. She's not going to be waiting for long, and you might miss out on the woman of your dreams. So when you don't find that person, you can do it all day, no problem. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll get back to you when you can, or when you're not busy and such.
When it starts mattering a little bit.
When it starts mattering, every day counts. What are we?
You wouldn't have
Where's
thought
this
I
going?
was afraid.
You was afraid of what?
Absolutely afraid. I was terrified.
Of what? Losing me?
Yeah. Why are you surprised by that? Oh, let's talk, Daddy. Because this is important, because I feel like when you think about connection, it's very interesting how the two lenses, and this is what I noticed, like a lot of times one person's not wrong, one person's not right. It's that they just have two different lenses. So what you didn't probably think about is because I'm a woman that might be sought after in a lot of ways, people assume that I don't get those feelings that they do too, right?
Right.
How it can matter more to me because I have to sort way more
True.
to find the right person because a lot of them are approaching me out of lust. A lot of them are approaching me out of ill intent. And even if it's not wholeheartedly that, they automatically have this preconceived thought that I got something else on standby or they don't assume out the gate. I have to convince a person that I'm genuinely who I am. And I have to work harder.
I understand.
So for me, I guess why I say it's scary is because when you find somebody, like you said, that you have that connection and you know that these things and these thoughts, these just undeniably end up intrusively into people's brains with no basis. I haven't done anything for a person to have that feeling other than be a woman who might fit a certain demographic, who has access to a certain type of audience or people, or you know what I'm saying, a space or whatever the case is, who you feel like, yo, she got options. So and then I would be gaslighting you to say there's no options. Options is the word that's kind of like conditional here though, because I have to view them as an option for me.
Right.
Even though there are a lot of them, does that mean that I view them as my option? So I meet this guy who shows me patience out the gate, who wasn't afraid to give me his real personality. He didn't try to present a representative. He showed me who he was from day one. And you don't see how, even though that can sound crazy, but those are positive traits. Who lit up like a Christmas tree when he saw my face for the first time. You don't want to lose that man. So in my lens, right, I'm having this conversation, but the more I gain feelings for you, the scarier it is for me. Because I'm playing Russian roulette with my heart here. You know what I'm saying? It's a gamble. When you choose to make that decision to go forward, it's either going to go really well or not. And the thing about me is my lifestyle doesn't afford me opportunities for heartbreak.
Right.
I don't have time to hurt.
You definitely don't.
You know what I'm saying? And that sounds so unhealthy. So I try to create an environment around me to eliminate as many opportunities as I can because I can't take a break from mothering because my heart is broken. I can't stop generating revenue, but my business needs me to thrive.
Right.
So I still have to find a way to smile when I don't feel like it. And because I am public facing, I have to do it a lot. You know what I'm saying? In front of cameras with people who I'm literally asking to weigh in on it. So, oh, she look a little this, she look a little that. I have to show up this girl. Hey guys, no matter what I'm feeling.
Right.
And I don't think that people realize when you're dating a person in those elements that beyond everything else, I'm still a girl. I'm still a girl. Not a woman, a girl. The little girl is who's scared to get hurt. The grown-ass woman know how to handle it. The little girl is like every time another man hurts me, the fairy tale gets more distant. You realize, yeah, they lied to me. Disney, y'all lied to me. And it becomes more of a reality. Right. And so I got to a point in life where I was like, I'm going to have all of these things and maybe I don't get the man. Maybe
right.
I have the career. Maybe I'll be this. Maybe I'll be sitting here telling y'all how to do it. And somebody going to comment and say, well, she ain't got her ass. So how we going to know she Y'all know how y'all go about that because you can't possibly have any information that's valid and not still be currently living it in that moment. But whatever.
Because it's true.
Because, I mean, so it completely invalidates you. I'm a sexologist. I'm teaching people how to live their best pleasure life. The perception of me not doing that is literally, sorry, baby, damaging to my career. You're like, you're such a slut for touch.
Hell yeah, son.
My nail brushed past him and he's like, close your mouth.
Stop.
But yeah, so we've never had that conversation, so it's interesting that it's coming on now. But yeah, I was terrified. And the more time we spent, the more terrified I became. But I had to mentally get myself to a certain space of not letting that thought lead the interactions. Like I had to say, if you're going to jump, you're going to jump. There's no, You know how you try to see somebody jumping and they keep doing that, and you just like, yo, push them in because you get tired. You're like, yo, are you jumping or what? If I make the jump, I'm jumping. So you had the ability to hurt me.
I wasn't though. I wasn't.
And now we was having a hot boy summer for a little while though.
Juve. Son,
He was outside.
Juve. That's all I gotta say. Every weekend.
He was like, listen, baby, I don't want to lose you. I just want to go to this fete tonight real quick.
Catch
a quick wine.
Fling waist,
throwaways.
My type of time in.
He just want to sit there and you just want me to be your wife at home, waiting on you.
I'll be right back. September soon come, I got you. All right.
If you feel like you're in a relationship that feels a little abusive, I want to invite you to call the Domestic Violence Helpline. I want you to know that's not what's happening here, even though that's what it might look like at times. Because he be like, that's the button, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Some people push it. He punches it.
Damn right. Like a real titan. Like a titan.
So, okay. Pros and cons, you answered that. Before we shift, I do want to ask you, do you feel that looking for the pros and cons to some degree affect people's expectations or feed people's insecurities in the dating process? Because sometimes if you're looking for the thing that might not be right or you know what I'm saying? It's almost like self-sabotage in a way that you're searching for something and searching so much instead of just focusing on building a connection in X, Y, and Z. So do you feel like when you were in the beginning phase that at any point you had set expectations that I needed to meet?
It was more towards being a better person to date. When I went out there, I realized that I was not healed. I was still combative. I was still closed off.
Don't let Sue hear that. My best friend, like 3 weeks in, she was like, have you heels? And he was tight. He did not like that question.
No, get out of here. Like, oh. And then she tried to stand up on me. I was like, yo, I'm tall too. Get out of here, son.
It was hilarious.
Want that chest bumper.
It was hilarious. But now look at them.
When I met you,
spouses.
when I met you, I was basically healed. When I broke up, when I got my divorce, when I went out there, it was very interesting because I learned a lot about the different types of women out there, and I learned how to talk to women because I was always shy, you know what I'm saying? I may act up all the time, but when it comes to talking to women, sometimes I can get very shy.
I know, you get a little blushy.
Yeah.
That's kind of cute. That's what you did on that first call. That's what it was. It was your shyness. Oh, snap. I just connected. Because he was just like, oh, hey. I was like, what the fuck? What in the bipolar? Because he was just wilding on the phone.
The shyness creeps up on me, man.
It did.
And,
it did.
When I was out there dating, I learned a lot about women, but I learned more about myself. I learned my personality and my personality to others, the things that I say. Sometimes I'm saying the wrong thing or because another person's experience, what I say can get misinterpreted. So
you think you got that one down pack now?
No, I'll still be wilding.
Okay, cool.
Still be wilding, but nah, I don't care. I definitely don't care. Push people down the steps.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's an abuser.
I will say that's something you're way better than me at. You're
what?
Way better with not holding on to like what you feel or want to say. And it might sound crazy because I'm very expressive in a lot of different ways. But when it comes to other people, I don't like to hurt others. Even when people hurt me, I'll play it safer than you in that regard. Where if you will absolutely out loud rebel against anything that isn't making you happy, I'm more willing to tolerate it. You know what I mean?
Well, you joke about it, but I'm a titan. Mm-hmm. I'm very aggressive about the things I want or my happiness. And I do what it takes to make it happen. I don't believe in absorbing BS, but does that mean I don't know a time and place? I'm not going to go start yelling at people on my job or start punching people in the street because they're walking too slow.
You go to cuddle corner for that.
Hey, with that cuddle corner, baby.
Cuddle corner is we be having to pull each other into. We be having to pull each other into the cuddle corner. And really, man. Guys, with the cuddle corner, essentially is translation for, in a lot of ways, we have the same reaction to certain things. But there are times we know we can never both be having that reaction at the same time. Yeah. So it's weird because he might want to have it, but because I'm having it, it calms him because he realizes he's like, come here, honey. Come here, babe. Come into the cuddle corner. So it's the same thing with him, but he does it in that gentle way. My way of pulling him into the cuddle corner is saying, shut up, babe.
Oh, yeah.
Because he be ready to say something, and I'm shut up.
Because I can fight. Because I can fight.
Oh, my God.
You know, just it's crazy how narcissistic it was of you just now to say that softly. Because I can fight. Like, and then come back and reiterate.
So I talk shit.
Shut up, babe.
See? You know what I'm saying? If people get upset, I'll be like, come and talk to me. Let's talk about it over here. What? Up, all right, fine.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
You know, somebody saw me talking to you like that in a video, and he was like, he does not love it. No man loves being demeaned like that.
You've never demeaned me. As a person that strongly believes that men cherish respect over love, if there's one thing that you do is respect me. And that right there will make me march in line for you because it's a big deal to me. Respect. Appreciate the love, don't get me wrong. Gotcha. But respect, because a lot of people can deal with someone that don't respect them. They don't respect their needs. They don't respect their stance on things. Don't respect their boundaries. They don't care. But you always show me respect. And that's one of your biggest things. I can go on and on about the things I love about you, but respect is like the shiny thing that sits on top of the mountain. Because the effect it has on me. Going to a party, making me a plate of food first. Son, like that is some shit right there.
He has been talking about this plate
since
the end of May.
Just passing me the plate.
Like,
big
I don't
plate.
know why this was such a surprising thing for you.
Because you're always taking care of your man.
Yeah, so because of that, that's all. Like it was. So really, what happened was people was envying him. I think people was mad because everybody was ready to eat, and I was the one who. First of all, I cooked the food, most of it. Right, there were other cooks too, but I was serving the food, and at my aunt's birthday party, essentially. And what I did.
Shout out to Max.
Right, shout out to Max. Right, but we started opening the pans and preparing to start serving the people. But I had made his plate, and I passed this to him. So technically, he got the first plate. Right.
Damn right.
But like, how am I going to be the cook and the hand serving the meal and my man don't eat first?
You know why?
That doesn't make logical sense to me.
Made me feel like it was my birthday.
People was looking at him with the eyes of hate.
And I was dancing with that plate.
And that's why he's an a-hole, because he was definitely sitting there.
Like, yeah. She knew what I wanted.
Mind you, 2 seconds before, face looking sad as hell because that was the night the Knicks.
They lost.
She
was like, don't you dare come in here with an attitude.
Because Knicks lost.
I was tight. I was angry. I was like,
this is a celebration. But then you get the plate and then,
It's good. All good again.
All right. So I want to shift into the second segment, which is adult edutainment. Right. And you're familiar with Business of Pleasure, so I don't really have to explain that to you. Right. But we're going to get a little bit deeper into the combo because this kind of help me get a full, or help everyone watching too, get a fuller perspective of your view of pleasure on a more holistic scale. But now I want to get specific. I want to get a little bit more targeted. But I did say that I want to talk about taking care of both heads.
Right.
So you gonna hit me every time I say that?
Mm-hmm. Randomly. I have more freedom than any one of your guests. Because you go home with me.
That's manipulation at its finest. You know what I'm saying?
What is it, honey, on my tongue?
Now you gonna quote me? That's crazy. It was crazy.
Go ahead, honey.
I've taught you well.
Exactly.
Because I damn sure be taking his own words, and he hates it.
I do. I do.
But you know why you hate it?
Why?
Because if I could use your words against you, even though I might be right, that means I heard you.
True.
I couldn't use them against you if I wasn't listening.
I appreciate it.
A win is a win. You got to take the silver lining, because if you're talking to me, just know that my brain is like a court transcript. That is like.
I know your memory
Yellow
is.
Mel in gray shirt said.
Your memory on that level. Your memory on that level is outstanding. I give you that.
I try to retain, especially if you're talking about certain subjects, it matters. So I do want to talk about how I feel. Let me start this and say this. I feel that one of the most significant shifts for you and I in the phase of getting to where we are today was your car accident.
Yeah.
And by then, we were nearing a year that we had been involved with each other, and we were still navigating and fine-tuning certain parts of things. But then this unexpected thing happened, and I know that we both had the same experience, but a different experience at the same time. What I took from it, what you took from it is not the same, and there are probably things that we both agree on. You okay to talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm still not over it. I'm still not over it.
I know.
And that's
how PTSD works to a degree, right? And maybe nobody's diagnosed it in you, but I can tell you, post-traumatic stress disorder. You think about it in a certain way and it could trigger that moment all over again. And you don't even, and the thing I think is because it's still relatively new, right? It's been a year and change since it's happened, but it's still fresh to a degree. So I guess what I do think it was, ironically, the time where we had the least sex, but had the most intimacy at that point.
right.
Right, because I had some intimacy, right? But up until that point, we were talking on the phone a lot. At one point, like every night, I was until whatever I was in the morning, I had driveway summer. And then we came back.
Juvie.
Shut up. Just shut the fuck off. I was like, oh, okay.
What color is he going to be today? All of them.
We got to this place where, we had just spent a holiday together.
Yeah.
And it was always crazy because at that period, we didn't see each other all the time, every day, but like how we do now.
Yeah.
But always felt like we just saw each other the day before, right? Or spoke to each other, or whatever. But then this thing to me was like the ultimate. It was the ultimate. Honestly, my ancestors were being cruel to me. You think that they were actually being cruel to you? But they were being cruel to me because at that moment, I was growing impatient.
So then it was cruel to me and take my charger.
Babe, but then they were cruel. So let me hear me out. They were cruel to me because it was a test. Everything at this point was a test. If I said that I felt like this man could be that man, I had to be willing to not get my way. And that's not something a woman like me is always used to.
So wait a minute. So because you're the main character in this story, I had to lose my charge as a supporting actor?
Listen, the car, I think what you gained. Look at me.
Continue.
So he loved that car, right? But at that point, I was at this place of like, I wasn't getting what I felt like I needed. Let me say, it's important. I felt like I needed what I thought I needed in that moment for a certain level of validation. I had a big lesson to learn myself at that time on patience. And I realized rushing headfirst into love before has not done me any good, right? I knew I loved you for a long time at that point. And
oh my God.
you get on my nerves.
Go ahead. Man. Sorry.
I did, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how much longer?
Right.
So when you start growing impatient, it could become very easy for you to try to force things in a moment. And that accident was a test because I had to figure out how to rationalize how I was going to show up, if that makes sense. Because I felt like I would have been completely justified in showing up, but not at a certain degree. And then I felt like I had to justify showing up at the degree I did because of where I felt like we were in that moment. We were not in we weren't in what we identified as a committed relationship, even though I wasn't with or involved with anybody else and you weren't. But we still hadn't put that label, right? So now this man that I love, who is technically not my man, but is my man, I had to make a decision, and it was a risk because what if I go and help this man, once I kind of got a bigger picture also of like the extent, if I go help this man literally stand again, literally walk again, and then I still end up getting dealt that hand of disappointment. So it was another testing point for me in that regard. And that's why I say that my ancestors were being wicked. They had a sick sense of humor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They were like...
Very sick.
Shut up, babe. Just get over it. So like, go to the car. Go to the car.
I miss my car.
You don't love your new car?
I love it, but I still love my Charger.
That's okay. That's okay. You can do that.
Continue.
But on top of it, the reason why he says that my ancestors was being mean to him, because like 2 days before the accident, I was like, I just need you to sit still. And then he shattered his femur. He couldn't walk. He had to sit still. Oh shit! Oh, my Stanley's. No. That was all right, ancestors. I heard you. I'll stop. That wasn't nice. So during your, so he was like, yo. So he felt like my ancestors was bullying him because anytime he did something remotely close to wrong by me, they would strike him instantly.
It'd be bad times.
He would do something mean to me and hit his head. Like he'd be like, all right. So, but so when you had to sit still, I'm gonna get it together, y'all. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was like, I didn't mean like that. I remember that night when you told me, and after I hung up on I cried. I was looking at the answers. I was like, I said sit still. But I wasn't talking about like take his leg. You guys are really, really extremists. But I didn't know that we were about to go through what we needed to go through. You know what I'm saying?
I made the decision that she was gonna be my woman from the time the Charger seized.
Oh, that was like almost a month after we.
Yeah.
Not even a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because when was the weekend of the
I think March.
Yeah, we
March.
met in February, and it was like early March because it was always around my birthday.
Yeah, because you had like when we first met and everything like that. You know, the potential was there, and I was like, oh nah, because I was gonna spend a night in the car that couldn't turn on. You know what I'm saying? The engine seized up.
His car was on the side of the road. It was snowing too.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like something in a movie. You know how like the days that they be having in a movie where everything go wrong, where you're like, this shit don't happen like this in real life.
She's like, so what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'm just gonna chill in the car.
Your car engine goes out. Next thing you know, you're on the side of the road. AAA said we can't move until the morning, and then the snow starts coming down.
She's like, yo, I'll put you in a room, and I was like, yikes. I'm cooked now. Like, there's nothing I could do. That timer went off. Bling.
Yeah, I was talking about that with Ro on the last episode.
But the difference is the hospital made you wife material. Because you can be girlfriend material and not be wife material. Mm-hmm. But there's a level that puts you in that category. You can only hope within a relationship, you know, you don't have buyer's remorse. You be like, you know, she's cool for a girlfriend, but I don't want to be too much ties to that. Some people don't even make it to the girlfriend stage.
You think that's what some guys be staying with girls for, like extra long, but won't ever tie a knot?
Yeah.
You too, Tal? Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, I love talking to guys. Y'all really be giving me the perspective.
Chill with you all day, and you're not girlfriend material.
I mean, wife material.
No, both, because there's levels. I could
Oh,
chill
like
with
a guy, you could chill with a girl all day, and she's
all
not
day.
girlfriend material.
Yeah.
And then you could be with a woman, and she's a great girlfriend, but she's not wife material.
Yeah, because what? She doesn't respect you, not considered enough, but, you know, she's good with money, or she's a great person overall, but there's the little things. Little things will make you a wife. Big things are expected. Little things make it personal. So if you're doing the little things and make it personal that no one else can do, you watch out for me and look out my best interests independent of yours. Because sometimes people want you to do good so they can come along for the ride. No, like, babe, you know, you got to go to work. I'm going to make sure you get to work, so and so and so. And then it's like, all right, I got food for you. I got this, and that. Or, you know, the game room, things like that. So eventually I start streaming or whatever. You don't even like me playing games like that. Because
Stop saying that, babe. You're an ass.
Independent of your own. Things like that.
I do not dislike you playing games, baby.
What about when you pulled the gun out on me?
What you talking about in the game?
He was like, "Get out of here now!" Like,
because
snap.
when we jump in the GTA lobby, they be like, "You're what they say?
Arch
arch
nemesis
is in the lobby."
And I was like, "That's very accurate."
Because I'll be in there, headshots at night.
Yeah, you're great in that game. But let me stop. Let me be serious. Things like that make you a wife. You know what I'm saying? You'll be a fiance forever if you even get that. Maybe 10-year
So, but
relationships.
like what exactly, baby?
Like,
because I mean, I feel like if a person gets injured, coming to the hospital first of all, out the gate.
It's not standard.
It's to a degree it is. Like basically, like I'll put it like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not standard that they're coming all the time, but I feel like in that first week when everything first happens, you're more likely to get visited by, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's like you're appreciative and you're gracious, but I'm not surprised if that person pops out and then it's like, but if I'm still there after 3 months, then I could look at it, but I guess like, well, maybe from my lens, maybe because maybe it's the different responses for a woman than it is for a man, maybe too. But I just felt like that naturally, you just found out, you told me that, you texted me that night with that stupid ass message.
How do you say that? Like, how do you say in the hospital, y'all? I don't know how to say this. But
But that's what you just said. That's what you said.
I had to
He
because
was
it's like, yo,
he starts the message off. I don't know how to say this, but I got into an accident. You don't do that while we're in the dating phase. Like technically, I don't know how to say this, but
everybody that came to the hospital and the rehab, I hold them very dear to me.
Mm-hmm.
But your role when I was there made you wife material. We talking about the first day you came there, you over here threatening to sue people because they couldn't find me.
Oh yeah, they was my. Okay.
You bringing me steak
I
and
was
Pepsi,
definitely barking
and then
up
Gary stole the Pepsi.
Because how did they lost him? They lost him. First of all, y'all see him. He's not a tiny guy. How do you lose him? I get to the hospital, they can't find him. So now y'all gave me a reason to go. I'm like,
it's wife material.
but like.
The effort. That's wife right there. You don't turn your back on certain things, and you did a lot of stuff. When we get to the rehab, threatening people, like
why always starts to be threatening people?
I'm like, we're gonna use the N word, negligence. Do I?
Lawsuits.
Such dirty words, right?
Commissioner, chair, board of health and hospitals corporations.
You know what I'm saying? See? So then when you started,
because so I feel like, baby, do you mind real quick? Right? This context. You so slow. This context. I get to the hospital, right? Because he told me he was having surgery in the morning or whatever the case is. And so, first of all, he didn't tell me what hospital. He sent me this. And so I had to hit his friend up and be like, yo, where he at? And then by then, I had gotten news that, you had come out of surgery. So I'm at the hospital there to bring you food, checking you and assess. Like, this is now the assessment. Because I need to know what this is going to look like and how I've seen you or condition you was in was about to tell me what kind of road it was going to be. So get there, check in, badge, ID, da-da-da. But then they start, like, talking to each other and doing this and doing that. And, whenever people do that, something ain't right. So I'm like, excuse me, what's the problem? I have the badge. I don't have a room number. So she was just like, yes, I'm working on that. Like, the room number, what are we working on exactly? And so they eventually come out and a supervisor shows up. So now when a supervisor shows up,
right,
something's really not right. So I was like, y'all should probably find another place to take me, because if y'all leave me in this lobby and keep doing what y'all doing, I'm going to make a scene. Because something is off. And you don't ever want to, like, when people, like, when it's coming out of surgery, quality of care is no big deal. So anyway, they put me to the side and they explained to me how You had come out of surgery, but you weren't in the surgery room. You weren't in the surgery waiting. You weren't back in your room. They don't know where you were. They saw that you were moved, but nobody knew where. You're unconscious at this point still. So I'm like, okay. What's going to happen is somebody's going to need to locate him, like within the next this amount of time. Or I'm going to pull out my phone and I'm going to start making calls. And see, a lot of people don't know, but my previous career was in politics. I have a lot of connections, like health and hospital corporations directors or people who might oversee those departments for the state and the Senate. And I'm going to start ringing bells, because how do you lose a patient out of surgery? Didn't make sense to me. So turns out the person who was transporting him moved him, but then needed to they put, you know how they park patients in the hallway. They parked him in a hallway, which is not a room, which is not a place, whatever. And so he was still in transit, but they didn't complete the transit. They got pulled away and they had to send someone else to finish it. But in the meantime, while that transition or that handoff was happening, there was a level or moment where you apparently might have been left unattended in the way it appeared, because no one had an answer. So bottom line, it takes them a while. They finally get the answer. I get upstairs and, you know, I finally found the room that you're in.
Oh, yeah.
And I walk into the room and then, you know, ... You're trying to talk to your mom on the phone, but you're weak. You can't even hold your phone. And I'm just like, oh, this is a real big, like, you know. And then I walk over. His friend is there. It's close. One of his closest friends is standing there. I walk over. I agree. I'm like, hey. And as I walk over, I watch this man right here in his hospital bed, can barely hold his phone up. Look at my ass. He was, bro went, and I was like, are you watching ass right now? And he's like, I'm still a heterosexual man.
Still a heterosexual man. Yup.
That's what I kicked the screen for, y'all.
You came in there dribbling the basketballs. It's like blum, 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 blum.
You got a lot of analogies for how I came into the hospital. That's what I'm starting to realize.
Oh, tell them that the next day you came through with the...
Shut up.
All right.
I won't shut you up. This is about you, okay?
Came in there the next day with the friggin' bodysuit and the heels and the mink.
Nobody had on a mink.
Wearing shades indoors. Talk about, hey, y'all. Hey, loves. Here to help my man walk.
Because I was just asserting my position.
I was like, yo, these are my friends. I was like, damn, yo.
Alpha. I'm an alpha female. When I say that, I don't mean that with men. But I have a dominant personality. You know what I'm saying? And that's not something I have anything I could do about. So
the mink in the heels was crazy.
Babe, I didn't have on a mink.
Just hear coming down the hall. Clock, clock.
I did have on a hill.
See, it was like clock.
But it wasn't a mink.
And I was like, you
and
walking
I did not
fast.
have shades
yeah,
on.
Yo, you came in there. I was like, oh shit, the music changed.
And my perspective, if he's gonna be laying in a hospital bed not feeling good, the least thing I could do is show up looking good.
You damn right.
Something to look forward to.
Yep.
So I saw it.
And
so I did put on the bodysuit and a pair of heels, but not the mink in the shades.
You killed it.
Dragging it.
You doing a good job.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, dear.
Bitch, you doing a good job.
Getting more comfortable calling me bitch.
Yeah, I'm learning.
I see you in the bed with the words nasty and filthy in front.
And slut.
So, how did you feel emotionally during those first couple of months? That's the first part of the question, right?
Of what?
But what did you feel in the beginning of the healing, right? Because I remember telling one of your best friends, when we spoke, and he was like, oh man, you know, it's road to recovery. And everybody kept talking about road to recovery. I had no concerns about your physical recovery. I was more worried about your mental, because I felt like right before that, you was like consistently in the gym. You was really working on, you know, certain things with yourself. And this is like a setback. And then your car, we're not gonna stay there, but your car, all that stuff. So I'm like, it feels like a major setback on top of physical pain. So I was just like, physically, I know that was going to be hard, but like mentally, I felt like you would not want people to see how much it was mentally affecting you. And because of that, it would mentally affect you more.
I do believe that men are judged on what they can do. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't do nothing. I thought I was gonna start having ED and all that stuff. Like I was like, yo, my shit, does it work? I was like, I can't feel it.
Yes,
you know what I'm
this
saying?
is not a joke.
I was like, yo, babe.
I had to explain to him that they had put him on nerve suppressants.
Yeah.
And I was
See,
like...
there's a sexologist, bestie. Talk to me, sexologist. What drugs are you using?
So I asked him about what medications they had you on, and when the nurse explained to me the cocktail that they were using for your pain management, one of them was a nerve suppressant to get you from not having that nerve pain and spasms or whatever.
No one gave me a cocktail. No one.
What mixture of medications they were... Seriously, babe?
Sorry.
Okay. Fine. I hate the pause era. I hate it, guys. I hate it. I can't even say like that medicine cocktail.
Yeah, what I just said.
Why'd you pull it?
I just said.
All right, fine. So I wanted to know what they was giving him. So naturally, if you're in a injury, any situation where you have to take nerve medications is really important for a man and a woman, because what do we talk about in the penis and the vagina? Nerve endings.
Right.
Right. How many nerve endings are in the clitoris? 8,000 externally, 15,000 internally in the internal network. Approximately. Men, 4,000 nerve endings. The ability to have an erection and feel all that kind of stuff is directly suppressed, because the nerve suppressant isn't just targeting the one nerve or thing that's hurting you. It's targeting your nerves. So it's kind of like how you take a muscle relaxer and the whole thing, everything feels. You can't be like, just relax this muscle. So I was trying to explain to him that it's okay if it's not responsive in the way you might be looking for it to be. And this, why you keep making these eyes? Like, Jesus Christ.
It's never okay.
It's okay if you are not responsive after you just had a near-death experience. You're laying on a hospital bed after they literally just replaced the largest bone in your body, for you to not have to be worried about your dick getting up.
That's a big problem. So when I pull off the friggin' sash and be like, oh, soft meat? Nah, son, I want to be like, yeah.
For who?
Like you. Be like, you like that?
I did not let the nurses touch it.
You definitely didn't.
I did not play with. They knew not to play with me. They knew not to even play with me.
But then,
who?
see, and then in moments like that, when I'm down and you took care of me, mad different ways, bed deflated, you come and make sure these people, you know what I'm saying?
You keep talking about me screaming words like negligence, but yo, I ain't gonna hold y'all. This shit was out of a movie. He got out the main hospital and then finally gets transferred to the rehabilitation center. First night in the place, the beds are like powered by air. I guess one of the employees, while moving trays or whatever, knocked out the plug that monitored the inflation. So here he is, in total pain. Like oxycodone is not even working. Like he's taking oxy with Tylenol blended with nerve suppressants and still in literal pain. Can't sleep.
Triggered like that. I was.
It's okay. You want to take a break? Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. You okay?
Oh, man.
Look at me, baby. But you're standing. And you was standing in that shit earlier, though. You knew.
You silly.
I ain't gonna lie.
I'm still not over it,
man. I know, baby.
Paper towels is over there.
Is
bro.
it over
Don't
here?
Use your shirt.
Use it, yeah. We're going to have to take a break right now because this conversation is getting very heated, but it's nowhere near over. So make sure you guys come back next week because it's only going to get turned up just a little bit more from here and more in depth. See y'all next week.